Hello everybody, my name is Jared. I have a grizzly mill, a G0704, and this video, which is basically my first attempt at doing a video. But a number of other people, get these mills. They do their modifications and stuff, and some other people like me are really on a budget. I kind of work on little projects and stuff. I'm kind of slow at going at things because I've got some spinal issues and I'm really slow at kind of prototype and tinker and stuff. So, anyways, I was looking at coming up with a different solution. Okay, I like the idea. I eventually, one of these years, maybe when I can afford it, I want to take my mill, do like a CNC conversion. I do have interest in getting like a big full Bridgeport type of mill, but there's a big following with this type of mill, the G0704 Grizzly mill, and this has got pretty good size dimensions, and it's been around for a while. I don't need to explain that a whole lot of that. I mean, you can go online and look at I think there's a website, G0704.com, and there's some other plans for doing the CNC conversions and belt conversions. Well, I can't afford the hundreds of dollars for doing that. I'm just trying to get through a couple different things. But as you can see here, I've been pointing my camera on here. I'm not the best at doing all these different things. I don't have a GoPro like everybody else. I just got a fancier camera on my phone. I've had it for a number of years, and it's for family stuff. But anyways, as you can see, I had done what a number of other people have done. The plastic gear here, this intermediate gear, well, I done that. And a lot of people do the prototyping, do the working, and they do aluminum and stuff. And I'm actually surprised I've gone pretty far, because a lot of times I'll use scrap materials around here, and I'll use steel. And I've been working on this thing. It was the material I had. I wanted to use these because of what they are. I was using to cut axle shaft pieces. So I did this. Now, instead of doing the whole thing, because I know it's a few $100s to do the belt drive conversion, most of you got a mill, or if you haven't had a mill, I understand that in high mode it only spins about 2,200 RPMs. Okay, so and this is the gear that came off the motor. This the motor here. Now, I understand some of the videos that I watched online on YouTube, a number of people had like older style models or whatever. So mine, I think it's manufacturing date about 2014, and I have like an updated motor because I've seen people burn out the motors. I have not done this. I thought maybe I did. I was pushing it too hard and burnt up some, overheated the brushes or something. I pulled the motor apart. Nope, it was this. This is what I done to it. Okay, so this is the gear, and they're helical cut gears. If most everybody has done the stuff, has done this. If you're looking at doing this, this might be another alternative for you. This is what I've done, and I certainly want to try to do a video too, see how I'll do it at it. So this is the gear that comes off this motor right here, okay? And this is the mounting plate. It's obviously upside down, and this gear here goes to like your intermediate shaft, and then you have your spindle. And look in your book. You can go to Grizzly online. That's one thing I did like about Grizzly better than Harbor Freight and stuff, is they have an even more extensive way of getting parts and diagrams and stuff like that. You can just bring up your G0704 and click all the parts diagrams and order individual stuff. I was going to replace that, but the thing I have with Grizzly that I don't care for is this plastic gear that everybody seems to keep burning through. They're $11 and $9 shipping. Okay? So, I went on eBay and I did the measurements, okay? And these are the gears I got off of eBay. So, I figured the helical, there's left angle, right angle. Let's see, I gotta make sure I'm getting focused here. I'm trying to make a good video. Okay, so these are helical. Okay, so I try to find this. Well, this is a 37 tooth gear. If you look in your book, this is 37 tooth and 20 tooth, I believe. Okay, so honestly, that doesn't really so much matter. Now, everybody talks about the plastic. It's probably cost effective and helical cut for sound stuff. My noisy garage here when I'm doing stuff, I could care less. So I just went to find spare gears. By no means am I like some sort of big professional machinist. I'm kind of been a, kind of mechanic, working on stepping up my knowledge and doing those things. And, well, I just kind of tinker around a few things here and there, what, my medical conditions allow. So anyways, this is what I come up with. So, doing this is one thing I don't like about the new age, the stuff. Okay, so you got the Grizzly mill, you got the cross feed, or the table moves X, Y axis. It's in thousandths of an inch, but everything else is metric. I mean, that's just kind of the crossover. I wish things would just either be metric, because if you have a mill that's built in China and it's got your dials and everything are in thousandths of an inch, and then I think if they're going to deal with that over there, then they should make the whole thing so it's just sort of one thing. It's just kind of my pet peeve, I suppose, in this day and age. Okay, so but you have to have it metric. Okay, so these metric parts. This is a metric gear. Okay, I think it's a particularly custom gear, that was particularly made for this, and possibly for proprietary reasons, that, you have to buy it from them, or you have to go on a full modification mode. Well, I was trying to find a better, cheaper alternative in the middle of that. And like I said, this is what I found. So if you don't know, okay, some of the older styles, before probably the updates and stuff, I've got a heavier duty motor, the new vendor or something. I watched another video, somebody was talking about that. I've not burned out this motor. I mean, it's just like a 1 horsepower motor, and I've pushed it pretty good. And I finally, after as much work as I do out here, and I do take pretty, heavier stuff because I'm cutting on steel, and I've pushed it pretty good and stuff. I mean, I'm so cheap on a budget. I've gone down to Harbor Freight, and I've used the carbide router bits to cut steel. They do not too bad, other than they're noisier than crap, because it's a straight cut. They're not like a helical, like regular carbide bit. But recently I did get one of those other cheap Chinese facing mills, so I'm working on stepping my game up. Okay, so now, the older style, I've watched plenty of videos trying to study. I'm trying to learn to be a better machinist myself, even for whatever, hobbyist purpose that I do. So this gear, you can also see what I've done to the center of this. The keyway here was all pulled out, and the keyway got jammed. And you can see it with my lighting in here. I'm out here, it's pretty cold, so I'm in a cold zone, and yeah, I've got insulated coveralls, a coat, and stuff like that on. But the keyway here, it pulled through and just got twisted in here. You can sort of see that. So, beyond just that. I think it jammed up and you can see it's kind of ovaled out now. And it did all that. So it actually kept working. This was actually still working, believe it or not. Because I think it was doing like a cam, like an, what they call that, an eccentric type of thing. So it was still sort of engaging enough in whatever parts of it and stuff. But this is supposed to be for, this hole is supposed to be for 15 millimeters. This is 14 millimeters. Like I said, mine is probably got an update with the G0704. I know the older style ones, when they were first come out or whatever, had like a 10 millimeter. And by golly, I'm glad I kind of did a little bit more check and actually read through my book, because I was looking for these replacement gears and I almost got a 10 millimeter. So I'm going to go over that. Okay, so that's what we got here. So that's the one that came off of it. Those engaged here. So now this is my problem. This is sort of how I do things. I kind of half-heartedly do some stuff. I'm just trying to get some stuff done. I'm certainly want to do things as professional I can, but it doesn't really matter because I'm doing things for my own purpose, so it really doesn't matter. Other people put out some really good machining videos, and I watch like A-Bomb 79 and Tubercle Cane, Mr. Pete 422 or something like that, and just whatever else. I mean, when I'm held up and just not getting out here to do stuff, that's what I do. Okay, so I did measure it across about here. I mean, it is kind of hard to take a measurement, but okay, let me go through this, and so let me keep moving the video along. So obviously the motor comes through here. These are the holes that the motor mounts in from this side, because this plate's upside down. It actually mounts on the top of the thing the other way. So here's the drive gear from the motor, turns the shaft, and the gearbox is in the head of the G0704. And then here's the spindle with your RPM device. Okay, so, but this is the one I done right here. So as best I could really sort of measured up the holes and everything like that. So I gave a guesstimate. You know, it was about, I'm sure it's probably metric, but I watched plenty enough other videos and understanding the best of just trying to get my purpose done. You know, this is about 1.5 inches across. I mean, it was probably metric, but it doesn't really matter, as if I'm kind of converting it and doing the same thing. And so I did do the conversions. I did, you know, there's Google's got some tools, or just whatever sort of calculators, conversions and stuff out there. So about 1.5 inches or so, I can't remember what it came out to, like 76 to 79 millimeters or something like that. So, you know, I looked at some other places, and, you know, by all means, more power to you if you've got some other way that you've dealt with stuff. And I don't deal with a whole lot of, you know, go out, buy metal and do some stuff. A lot of times, you know, my garage here is full of little metal bits of scrap here and there that my dad left behind and stuff. So sometimes I'm just using that. You know, I understand that's not necessarily the best, and but that's what I got to work with, and that's okay for the most things. Cause I'm not like, it's not a professional machine shop or anything like that. So by all means. Okay. So anyways, I figured about that, and that's one of the other complaints. That's what people are doing the belt drive conversions, from what I understand, is, you know, the gear ratio and stuff. It only goes about 2,200 RPMs. And sometimes it's a little bit fast even, because I'm trying to figure out the way it works best for me to cut. I'm trying to understand, you know, techniques, and I'm learning from other people, because obviously I didn't go to school from this. I'm quite intuitive. You know, I'm not trying to blow my own horn or anything, but, you know, I'm somebody who's, you know, been around a bit of stuff, worked on things, and you know, operated equipment and built engines and stuff like that. And I'm really getting into the more of the, you know, not just being an engine assembler. That's why I have an interest in the machining, and I love fabrication designing, and I'm more of kind of a visionary person to come up with ideas, stuff like that, than, you know, have really, you know, delved into that. But I certainly understand how to operate the equipment better. That's what I'm trying to learn too. So this is my challenge here. So I had about 1.5 inches, and you know, so when you come across that, you know, I basically divided it by 2. But honestly, if you really think about it, this is your 2 center points. Okay? And so obviously, that's only the radius, halfway across. So honestly, either way, half and half here, 1.5 inches, by either sides of the teeth, you know, it just seemed logical to me that, you know, you got about 3 inches across. You know, I kind of did a rough estimate doing that. So I came up with the spur gear, because I figured the spur gears is easier to just try to find and locate and do that, because I didn't care about the spur gears compared to the helical gears. So I ended up having to replace both of them, because at first I was just seeing if I could find something else. I didn't want to pay the $20 from Grizzly, and so I ended up just trying to come up with a different gear set. And this is what I have. Okay, these are metric gears. This is a 15 millimeter inner diameter hole, and that one's a 14, because they matched up. I've already sort of test fit them, and they seem like everything's going pretty good so far. Okay. Now, I understand that if you're dealt with other gear local places, and there might be some other places, this is just what I found out. You know, this is just a solution. Instead of maybe spending hundreds of dollars doing a belt drive conversion, I don't have that money. Eventually, I'll probably do something like that, spend like 6,000 RPM or something like that. So that's not where I'm at. Now, this one here is obviously to replace this. They're fairly equivalent. Now, I did do some calculations. This one here, okay, we got the 15 millimeter inner diameter. This is 37 tooth. I didn't find a whole lot of anything anywhere that was really 37 tooth. That's why I think it's sort of proprietary. You know, they're made to fit this application, this device. You know, you have to buy parts from us to put it back. So I didn't want to do that. you know, the way I'm doing some stuff. I'm surprised this one lasts as long, but I don't want to just turn around and, you know, a few months or something, I've done this again, and I'm just not going to keep spending money to do that. I want to try to find a better solution. 37 teeth, 20 teeth. That's, when I calculated it, it comes down to 1.85. Actually, my notebook here, I was saving to get over to it. Okay. Now, see if we can get focused in here. So, see, 37 tooth, 22, the stock is 1.85 ratio. Now, these are the ones I done. Now, I'm gear cutting stuff. I don't have that ability to do that. I don't have cutters. I don't have all those different type of things. It's way beyond me. I mean, I have a rotary table, but I don't have like a dividing head. You know, I watch videos, so I sort of understand some of the lingo and some of the different things. I just wanted a replacement. My mill is what I have. I don't yet to be able to do a bunch of other things to cut it. You know, even with the fly cutter, I just didn't even feel like it was just even worth it to find material to try to do anything like that. So I just want to find the cheapest, probably the best, you know, thing that's going to seem to last. So there's some other websites and they seemed a little bit, but what I did is I went on eBay, okay? You know, I do buy a bit of stuff here off of eBay. It just seems to be the best thing. There's all sorts of other websites that might have good deals and stuff like that. But I particularly trust that if I'm purchasing from a different country or something like that, going through eBay, you know, that just seems to work well for me. You know, I mean, I understand that there's some other websites that are legit, and I've not really ever dealt with them, but I do deal with the eBay a bit. So let me go over the things here. So now, as I had mentioned, if you're not experienced with that, and some of you are, and you know, you could probably talk over my head, and then this is just my solution. This is just my video. So, you know, you can comment whatever. I'm not necessarily going to know how much I really go into that. But this gear here, the bigger one, that's going to replace the intermediate one, was an 1M45T. Now, I've watched plenty of other videos on teeth cutting and stuff, and they've got the diametral pitch or whatever, and the metric is different. I think it's 1 mod or something. There was like a 1.5, a 2, 2.53, and stuff like that. So either way, I mean, you got to have gear teeth that match. Now, you know, going around a circle, the teeth match up a certain size, because if you had a different size of tooth, then they wouldn't match up. You know, there's all this mathematical geometry in it and everything, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And it's a little more than my capabilities at this point, but I understand that that's really what it's for, is to completely make, you know, the measurement so that the teeth match the diameter. So if it was just a little bit bigger and you could fit in, you know, there might be a section where, you know, one tooth wouldn't get cut right, and that's all what it matters for. But when you're having this gear, well, look, it goes all the way around, even teeth, but it also has to match this other one. So you have to have 2 teeth when the mathematical formula cuts this type, the same size of the teeth here, the same size of the teeth here, and then also off your 2 center lines of your 2 shafts. So, I mean, it comes into all that. If you don't know under that, I understand some of those basics. You know, but basically that's it. So if you know, diametrical pitch stuff has to match, and this one where it says 1M, this one, the top one here, come on, focus. Okay, the top one is 1M45T, and the other one is 1M45T. So this is my option 1. I was looking at all sorts of different options, you know, so there was 47 and then 32. So that's, you know, 79, okay? So that was right there. I mean, I had some other options, but when I looked at that, see, this one says 15 millimeter, and when I did the calculation, see, what this also means is 45 teeth, 30 teeth. Okay, so when you do the calculations, like a ring and pinion or anything else like that, you divide them into each other, and then it comes out to 1.5 ratio. So I'm actually going to be a little bit higher than this, than the stock. So this is one way that instead of doing it for, you know, I should get a little bit more RPMs out of it. I don't know. Maybe I can go to 3,500 or something like that. I really haven't, you know, done any calculations. I don't know. You know, compared to 1.85 to 1.5, you know, I got a little bit of a, you know, increase on that. Now, there was a whole bunch of other options that I did find. You know, I could have used, there was also this 1M40T, okay, which is 42 millimeters, okay, so that would have been the other intermediate one, so that would have been a little bit smaller, And so that was a 15 millimeter. I went to some, you know, they came from China. You know, it was just eBay. They have the one person I went to their one thing. It was some, I don't remember who it was. I'm not giving a plug to them. I have no affiliation with them or anything. It was just World Window 2010 or something like that. It was one of those places that has all those gears like that. And I went in there and I was able to select it off of theirs, and it had all the nice selector, and I could choose one M45T and that one, the 15 millimeter inner inner diameter bore. Okay, so then the second one, and then I was, you know, found another gear with the 14 millimeters, and, you know, that 79 millimeters across, you know, the 1M, they're both 1M, so the teeth would match. And so, yeah, I mean, you can see the teeth, they, you know, they're fine. That's how they're supposed to go. And this was some other option for some different gear ratios and stuff. So 1M40T, it was 42 millimeters. I got the 15 millimeter inner bore, okay. And 1M, you know, 35T, that was 37, you know, millimeters. So you got, you know, there's also 79. So, but then that would give me a 1.14. I thought that was just a little too much. I mean, it's only 1 horsepower motor, you know, and I can even chug the 1 horsepower motor if I'm trying to, you know, get into something to try to take too much of a heavy cut. So I thought that was just too much. Because you have to understand, you know, when you have a gear reduction like this, you're also, you know, supplying some leverage, you know, to it. The more that you increase the gear ratios so the number goes down, you're going to have more power to turn it. It's like when you know, your car transmission, you start in a lower gear ratio like that, and the gear ratios keep going up as you go in there to where you're about a 1-to-1 or even an overdrive in your final gear. But you have to have more power. That's why you know, you go up a hill, your vehicle has to downshift and stuff. You know, if you don't understand some of those things, I know plenty of people do. I'm just basically saying that. But I had a different option. So, you know, I had the across about an inch and a half, so 79, you know, 76 to 79 millimeters. I can't remember what it was. I'm not giving you exact things, but I went through the whole thing. You know how it comes when you order stuff in. It takes, you know, 3-4 weeks or whatever. And this, some of this stuff I wrote down is for some of my final figures. I had a bunch of other ones, but these were two other options too. So this same one, the 1M30T, which would have been the same one here, would have also worked with this one. Okay, 42 and 32. Okay, you know, so you got 70, you know, 4. So the center, when I looked at it here, your motor's right here about the center point of this. And I would have even modified this, but then I pulled this apart and realized I already had a little bit of play. So, and what that does, I'll try here for the shadows. You know, it gives you a little bit of, to get the proper engagement to seat them in there. So that's why I figured I had a little bit of, you know, closeness right there, you know, 77 to 79 millimeters. I think I calculated that, and that was close to 10 millimeters of play. So I figured I'm pretty close into the center. They've done pretty good at that. So I had about 5 millimeters either side. So if I'm like fairly close to that ballpark, I mean, the biggest thing is getting the teeth to match up. Okay, so I already kind of did a basic test on this, and see, here's, you know, my motor. So see there, it fits right in there. The other thing of it is they're not exactly, so I'm gonna have to do some fitting because I don't have any keyways cut with that. I'm going to attempt. I got some tooling. I got some high-speed steel. You know, I tried to do a bit of carbide stuff because I, you know, hardened axles and some other things like that. I'm trying to do some carbide things here and there as much as what I got. But these have the 2, you know, jam screws in them. And, you know, I don't want to sit it on there. But you can see how these fit in here, so... And I did a test fit the other night, kind of just put it in here. But you can see, I mean, that's just all right. I mean, that's just, if you're looking at it, yeah, I put it up there. My problem is that's taller. And I don't know if I'm going to try to cut this down and because these were actually a little bit more pressed on. The way their fit was a little bit tighter, so I probably still want to try to use those. With some of the belt drive conversions, they've put mounting plates on here, and or even just done away with this, and it sets up higher and all sorts of whatever stuff. You know, I did also want to mention, I did look into that as an option, and I just, you know, calculating the belts, and I thought this would be stronger. Anyways, excuse me. That, you know, timing belts. They had a whole bunch of those like that. You know, I could have come up and kind of count those up, but trying to figure out the belt diameter to loop around, and, you know, going around here, and then the distance across it and stuff, and, you know, the little timing belt type of thing, and yeah, I went with this. And I'm really happy with it, other than I'm either going to try to space this up a little bit, because this is a little bit taller, and this plate won't go down all the way. And I do want to have a keyway cut in there, so I'm going to, let me come over here. You know, I got my garage, and I got everything everywhere. I got so many things I'm just so backed up on, but like I said, I'm really slow at doing some stuff because, medical issues. I'm just, you know, I'm still trying to keep after it, so try to keep busy with some stuff. And I'm just, you know, thought about, you know, doing some YouTube video stuff or whatever. But let's come over here. See, here's some of the things I've worked on and done this, and I'm just cutting on my whatever type of stuff. And this is one of the other modifications that I did. Not to pull the thing apart, but I've relocated this off the side. I obviously had that pulled apart because I had to pull the motor off of there. So I ended up cutting the wires, but I'm probably going to put them back together with both things. But I actually extended out the wires and did some stuff, and it's been working really fine. Because if I try to tilt the head, because what I have, here's my adapter for it. I have a R8 spindle. Everybody, you know, if you're familiar with this, you know it's an R8 spindle. But I have that lathe chuck, and this fits on there, so I can hold stuff in the lathe, and I can't afford a lathe, so I try to I've done a little bit of messing around with that, and try to make that do some work. But, you know, I have the rotary table. I made this. I had a big, like a plate cover, like one of those big steam industrial pipe things, and I cut this out of the center of that. You know, I made this adapter, and it's done pretty good. I mean, this is, you know, with this high here, I think I'm having some instabilities, and so I'm trying to make things work the best for me. I have I'm actually, with this type of stuff, I've been trying to do a little bit of stuff. I've been doing a flood coolant. I just, whatever. You know, people use WD-40. I understand there's some other official fancy things, but I just use a sump pump down in a bucket. You probably can't see it because of the lighting and stuff. You know, there it goes. I got it kind of covered. I've been, you know, I got stuff everywhere. I got clutter because I got my dad's stuff, and I just work this project and that. But, you know, I put this up here, and it's like hydraulic oil. I figured it was probably some of the stuff that's got the least additives and stuff in it. And, but I did this, and I got a hose return, and that's just something I gave a try. I might try to do something else. I understand I've seen other videos where they got the big box stuff on here. But, so that's the cutter that's on there. It's one of the other ones that seems to be pretty popular. There's lots of them out there. But back to stay focused on here. But actually, I believe it goes this way. Well, I mean, I don't even care how it goes on here. I just want it to match up, you know, and then this one's going to go here. And I've already sort of test fit it, but when I put this on here, the plate doesn't sit down. So either I'm going to put like a little riser on here. I mean, you know, some little things, and you know, just something that's going to make it work or whatever. And but I'm pretty, you know, happy with the way that's going to go on here. I had already put it on here. I mounted the motor off. I just took it off for this video, obviously. But I'm not sure. I can't remember how it goes on the motor. I think this one I'm not going to have to do anything with other than do the keyway for putting the keys in there, because I don't want to just use those, and because I think you just gall up too much and then you just run into more issues. I've already had to pop these off a little bit, and I filed this down right here because obviously, you know, how they, you know, manufacture those things or whatever. I mean, I'd certainly like to have a big old, you know, industrial size, you know, especially for the kind of cuts that I'm cutting. If I'm cutting stuff like this, you know, it's just, I'm dealing with this. And, you know, if I get into other prototyping or something else, I might do that. But one step at a time of what I'm actually able to do. So, but yeah, so I mean, if you see this, I'm pretty sure that's an indication that it's been heat treated on the gear. So they're a little, you know, hardened. And I'm not sure if I nicked the gear or whatever, but well, I did put it in here and it feels like good engagement and stuff. So, but maybe I'll see if I get comments or anything like that. People like this video. I've just shown you that some of the calculations, some of the stuff that I went through for this. But I guess I probably don't want to open a whole can of worms for, you know, other things. I actually laid this. I've laid this head over. I mean, yeah, I know. I'm gonna do some other things because I've got like some I-beam stuff right here to probably put like one of those follower things. You know, the roller followers they have on lathes, and sort of make something of my own. I mean, eventually, obviously, yeah, it just is more prudent to have a lathe. But if I'm trying to just do a little bit of turning stuff, I actually was just giving that a try, just because I wanted a lathe head, and I just did that. I just don't have the money for a lathe, even just a cheap Chinese one. But I took this. Because this is your jam for the spindle to your lock for that, and I went down and got a metric, and just to this whole, yeah, we actually screw in with an Allen wrench, and I just took that out of here, so it would sit really low, and that's actually why I relocated this back here. My the VWM your power system. You know, it's a variable frequency, VFD, whatever. It provides the, you know, AC to DC because it's a DC motor. Lets it go forward and back and that stuff. So I have a light here, and I changed that out because I did so much stuff and tore up the rubber things, and so I just got some rubber matting and just put a couple holes in it, and I have it, and I was going to put that one back on, and I tried to make some other blocks. Yeah, I know, I'm messy. I haven't even cleaned this up. I was just out here while I was just trying to make a bit of a stuff and all that stuff. But that's what I do with mine. I understand people do stuff a little bit differently, and I'm having this. I'm going to have to pull this while I got this all apart because this seems just like it doesn't kind of adjust quite right in there. I think something's slipping in there. But that's my solution. Maybe I'll make another part 2. This will be like part 1. And, you know, see how some of my other solutions, if I'm going to cut this down or make the riser. That's mostly what I come over here for to talk about. But, yeah, if you're interested and want me to make some more video on this and, you know, follow up with it, you know, just, you know, make some mention on it or whatever. And, you know, make a part 2 and, you know, how everything turned out with me, I don't know. If I've got enough material, because you obviously see where the, get it in my camera here. I'm trying to look at the screen. Because you have your jam screw right there. I don't know. I can't. My mind's not working on the best. I can't remember there's a name for those, but whatever. But see, I can only go down so far to where that would be compromised and usable, and I'd probably almost have to take half that off possibly to get that down, because when I test fit it, I set those up here. Those little lathe holders I got at Harbor Freight, you know, and I set it up there and one on the other side, and it was up that high to be able to just screw the plate on. Just barely catching enough threads, and so I'd, you know, almost that height, so just to get it to sit in there properly. The ones that are on there now are sort of have a keyway, and they're sort of press fit on there, but then they also have the snap ring on it. And it's not an E-ring, it's a snap ring. It's a round ring because it has the, you know, the little snap rings go right here. So, but that's what I'm working on. So if you like what I'm kind of my idea that I come up with, my solution, and you know, because you know, everybody's got the different belt drives and can change the gear ratio with some of those because they come with multiple steps and stuff on them, but this is a different, maybe a cheaper way for somebody who's looking at a solution like mine to come up with. So if you want to see the end of this project, you know, comment, and you know, just keep them within reason for my, you know, skill set. You know, I'm getting to be an okay machinist for my purposes, and you know, I'm certainly learning how to do things the best and properly. But you know, you kind of have to wing it sometimes with budget and, you know, physical limitations and stuff like that sometimes, and you know, with all the stuff I got going on in my life. But you know, comment, like my video, all that kind of stuff. So thanks, bye.